about me. What is it going to take for me to get to that next, drink? What is it going to take for me to get that next, dopamine hit from looking at some images or acting out? And maybe I'm not going to be as reckless. I thought I was more responsible than the kids and I'm not doing what they're doing. But I was just so focused on me. And I've heard it mentioned so many times that people say, oh, when I did this and I did that, it's like these things just took away the fear and they relieved the anxiety and they made me feel more confident. And I remember, and I heard a speaker say this once, that it's like, when I engaged in acting out or when I engaged in drinking, it just relieved me of the bondage of self. That it's like, I just didn't have this weight of me. But I remember very specific moments in my history, drinking and acting out, where I'm just like, this isn't working for me anymore. That it's like, this was just like almost like an act of like maintenance or survival, just like for how I was operating, through my days. And I'm brought to this point that it's like, okay, I either can keep going or I can make a decision to try and get well, and I come into this process of recovery, and it's like, coming into recovery, do I have that same urgency that I had in addiction? Do I have the same urgency that my kids had going from house to house to house? Do I have that in my recovered life, where it's like, as in addiction, it's like, I'm just selfish. What can I get from me? But in the recovery, it's like, can I actually take it not about me, but actually, can I make it about you guys? Can I make it about others? And one of my weaknesses, one of the delusions or the lies that I can be prey to, and this is kind of what I've been challenged with lately, and part of the reason why I want to speak on this is, I can fall prey to the lie that it's like, I don't need anyone else. That I can take this LifeLab course by myself. And I treat it as a DIY course, just for me, or I can read the Bible and it's like, it's just me and God. And it's like, here we go. Or I can read the big book and it's like, I don't need other people around me. Because it's right here. Like, what do I need someone else for? But what that does when I fall prey to that lie is I actually become isolated and I become this little island and I'm alone. So I'm thinking like, okay, unity is one of the pillars in recovery. And I'm like, what does unity look like in my life? And I thought that I can see unity being played out in three different ways. Last week, our speaker talked about, how we're made, and we're made we're made with spirit, we're made with a soul, we're made with our body. And I was thinking that it's like, I can find unity in all of those places. I can find unity that it's like, coming into recovery, I can actually be unified with my Creator. And what does that look like? It looks like simply even just how we started this meeting, with a prayer, with a couple minutes of meditation, where I can just slow down and just like, because I can be so prone to just like, let's go. But I'm actually taking this thing where it's like, there's the Spirit of God, and then there's the Spirit of Josh. But it's like, are those actually becoming unified as one? And I'm actually taking the Spirit of God on in my own life. And I do that through slowing down. I do that through prayer. I do that through my daily readings. And as I do that, I find that I'm actually finding unity within myself, where, again, I can be prone to think obsessively. I can be prone to anxiety. I can be prone to depression. Am I reacting to people? Am I living on these emotional highs and lows with what happens? But in recovery, when I start getting connected to my Creator, all of those things start to level out. And I'm not, there are times it's like there are, there is mental illness that it's like needs things. So I'm not saying everything just goes away. But for a lot of that stuff in my life, it's like, yeah, when I start actually living out of my spirit and living unified with my creator, all of a sudden my soul, I'm unified within me. And then I look at it where it's like, I can actually find unity with others around me. And there's a line in the big book. There's a line in the big book that says, it's like, it was in step 10 and it says, it's near the end of the 12 steps. And it says at this point, it's like, we have ceased fighting anything and anyone. And man, isn't that a good benchmark right there? Isn't that a good reference for me being like, am I actually in conflict with other people? Am I even in conflict with myself? And I think there's this point that it's like, I can become so focused when I look at myself, I can be so focused on me. What do I want? What's going to make me feel good? And I can do that in an addicted life. I can do that in a sober life, but I can still be so inward focused. And I think there's this part of unity that it's like, I really need to take this me statement that I make and turn it into we. How can I be of use to the people on this call? How can I be of use to those around me? And it's like, I actually need the fellowship. I need a community around me to help me see the truth. I need a fellowship around me to actually help me hear the voice of God. And, it's like this. You live in a house, it's like there's maintenance of the house. And we have in our living room, we have this big living room window, and in front of the living room window, we have our couch. And I have tried, and it is a battle, but no matter what, it's like those little kids love to climb up on that couch. And those little kids don't have the same understanding of what they're doing that I might. And it's like, and they'll take those dirty little paws, and it's like, and they put it all over the window, and they're streaking down there. Or maybe they'll go to the dining room table and they have yogurts on their face and their hands. And then next thing you know, they're on the window, and it's like, it's the window is greased up. And then maybe you get the odd one. I don't know, why are you licking the window? Like, what are you doing right now? It is disgusting what you're doing. So I need to clean the windows. So the other day, grab my Windex bottle and a rag and clean it all. And here's the thing. If this window is south facing, so it gets sun all day long. And if you are familiar with the sun and windows, the difference from the windows at the front of our house where this window is south facing to the windows at the back of the house is that sun is going to highlight every little bit of dirt, all the grease marks, all the everything. So I take my Windex bottle and my cloth, and I clean the whole window. I'm like, man, good, got the window clean. And I step back, it's a sunny day, and I look in and I'm like, why is that window still filthy? Why is that window disgusting still? Well, I only cleaned half the window. And that's what I can be like sometimes. I can be like, man, I only need me to read the Bible. I only need me to read the big book. I only need me to do this, and I'm going to get everything out of it. But I actually need a fellowship around me to help me see the truth. I'm only getting part of it. So I go outside, I grab my little squeegee brush and things, and I get the ladder set up, and I clean this window, and I step inside, and I'm like, it's like I'm looking at a Mona Lisa here. Like, I'm like, look at my work. I've cleaned my window. And it's like, but I can see through the window. And that's what the fellowship offers me, though. You guys actually help me see the truth when I can't actually see it myself. And stay with me through this. But I've been finding myself getting a little bit frustrated lately. And we had this event the other night, this Ashes to Rubies event, and called grief. Correct me if I'm wrong. Grief out loud. Grief out loud, I think it was called. And it was an event that we could hold for people to come to basically mourn publicly things that they've lost during the pandemic. Mostly, death, but it could have been like just life circumstances. But mourning the death of people that have passed away from sickness, from suicide, from overdose. And I remember there was this moment, one of the more impactful moments in the night for me was I'm sitting there, and there was this moment where people could come forward and light a candle in memory of someone they've lost. And as that's happening, there's a slideshow going on in the background. And it's just, face after face after face of these people that we've lost. And I remember there was this picture came up, and it was a guy that I was actually going through the LifeLab course with during the pandemic who had passed away. And right when his face came up, and it's almost like this iconic picture that they had at his funeral. But right when this picture came up, I looked in the line, and I knew that there's one of his close friends in the line. And this guy just pointed his finger up at him, like pointed to him, like acknowledging him, like, I see you, man. It's like, just like I'll see you soon. And I felt myself angry by death. And I guess it was further, to go even deeper with that. It's like, I saw a post the other day where, someone had made a comment saying, or a post saying, it's like, oh, they relapsed. But I'm seeing all the comments underneath that. And I know people are trying to be encouraging, and like, just keep at it. But it's like, people are like, oh, well, relapse is just part of recovery. And I was getting so frustrated by seeing that, because I'm like, why are people saying relapse is a part of recovery? Isn't that a lack of recovery? And I'm not trying to be judgmental and negative on that, but I'm like, there's something to it that it's like, how long until it's like, I see your picture up there? If I want to downplay it like that. And I think that there's this urgency that I was feeling, that it's like, there are people out there, there are people among us right now that it's like, they're struggling, and it's like, am I willing? And people need relief as soon as possible. People need to be connected to this solution. And it's like, am I actually passing on the message of recovery that was passed on to me? Do I have that same urgency to help my fellowship, to help those around me? And that's like, man, that means I got to give up my time. That means I have to give up my energy. But do I have that same thing that it's like, my kids are going like, I need to get this candy in me as quick as I can. Am I taking that same thing and saying, man, there are people around us that are either physically dying, or they're like, internally, they're just becoming miserable. And if I'm a part of this fellowship of recovery, or of believers, and I'm talking about this unity, am I willing to put aside what Josh wants to do? Because selfishly, what does Josh want to do? Josh wants to relax. I'm tired. I got 3 kids. Like, whatever. Poor little old me, right? It's like, that's what's easy for me to say. But if I want to focus on this fellowship and being like, man, unity is part of this, can I put aside what I might want to do in my own spirit and actually be like, this is what's good for the spirit of our group? The spirit of our group on this call, the spirit for a group of recovery, the spirit of our group as a church. And we're watching this, my wife and I are watching the show, if you ever need that good cry, you just put on This Is Us. And we're watching it, like, I'll admit it. And there was this episode we saw the other night, and someone's struggling, and one of the characters was just like, it's like we're a family. Like whatever I have is yours. And I'm just like, I'm thinking there, it's like, do I carry that same mentality? Because so often, man, my natural state is just I'm selfish and I'm self-centered, and it's like, but if I'm actually focused on what's good for the group, for us as a whole, man, can I put that aside? Can I put that aside and being like, I have something that I can offer? And we all on this call have something to offer. Don't listen to that little lie that you have nothing to offer. Everyone has something to offer. Doesn't matter where you are. Everyone has something. But I think when we all start putting that aside, when Josh starts putting that aside, all of a sudden I see this thing grow up around us. That it's like, it doesn't matter about the little things anymore. That we come united around the bigger picture, around this bigger vision. And I think this unity in recovery, it takes the me thing, which I can be prone to do. I can just focus on me. But it takes me from me to we. And I'm not focused on what Josh wants and what Josh feels. And, oh, my little voice isn't heard at this time. And I'm not feeling like I'm whatever, It could be, I don't feel like, it's like I'm good enough. Or maybe it's, I don't feel like you guys are hearing me. But when I'm focused on how can I be of service to you guys, then all of a sudden we grow up together. We all grow and we become stronger as a group, as a fellowship, and that's me as well. I grew up stronger in that area as well. I'm not excluded from that. But where does that all start? I think that all starts when I'm actually connected to my creator. And when I start making a decision that I'm going to take time to slow down, that this is how I'm made, and I need to get energized here through these spiritual disciplines, then I get to put it into play. I get to put it into action among you guys and among the world around me. So again, I thank you for the opportunity to share, and I look forward to the shares and the conversation afterwards.